I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 2nd, where we've been rocking along here the last few weeks, and we kind of forgot about grain, but man, it reared its ugly head so far this week with on Monday, your corn futures were up 10.5 to 11 1/4. Your Kansas City wheat, which is hard red winter wheat, which most of your cattle have been grazing on in the southern plains, which they don't even trade in Kansas City anymore, but still that's what you call it. It was up 28.5 cents on Monday. The bad weather that they had through the southern plains had snow. They grazed a lot of that hard red winter wheat in southwest Kansas. There was places in southwest Kansas that had up to 18 inches of snow. And high winds. We've had places that's had hail. We've had soggy, wet conditions, flooding, and all that crop damage just kind of put your futures traders on alert there, and then they kind of overdid it. Actually, Monday was a beautiful day in the southern plains. You couldn't have asked for anything better. Low 70s, no wind, and nice sunshine, and I think every bit of the snow is pretty much melted off, and maybe a little bit in the fence rows, but that's about it. And I think everything will settle back down here on Tuesday, and then it will take a lot of those losses or those gains back. Losses for the cattle guy actually, but a lot of those markets will come back down from where they were, and really your grains haven't moved at all in so long that we kind of forgot that they sometimes get volatile. But your cattle board there, live cattle futures, yes, they were all down kind of midway through the session there, but come back and close mixed with your nearby live cattle contracts up 10 or 15 cents. Didn't really amount to anything. Feeder cattle were down, of course, because of the feedstuffs were higher, but not too bad. Your nearbys were down about 95 cents. Your fats for last week, they did have a huge week of negotiated trade in the 5-area feeding region. 133,800 head, another monster movement there. Your weighted averages on live steers, 136.22, that was up $4.62 on the average there. Your weighted average on a dress steer, 216.45, up $7.22. But some more news on your grains there. And this come out after the board was closed there on Monday. That will help settle these grain prices down a little bit and take back some of those springboard jumps there. 43% of your corn is now planted. That's up 26 percentage points from just last week, and up 9 percentage points from the same time a year ago. And you wonder how they did that with all the bad weather. Well, Iowa's sitting at 55%. An old man told me a long time ago, don't forget there's counties in Iowa that grow more corn than most states. So that may not be literally true, but it's practically true. And don't get to doing too much crop touring and think you know what corn's doing unless you're in a pretty close proximity to Iowa. And Iowa's getting along pretty good. But your feeder cattle auctions on Monday, Oklahoma City had 6,000 head, pretty good run considering the wet conditions and the nasty weather they had over the weekend through there. Feeders still $4 to $8 higher. Had a lot of catching up to do. They didn't see those big gains early last week. They didn't come until later on in the week. Calves not well tested, just not seeing too many calves move in that part of the country. Joplin only had around 2,500 head. The 4-state area there is just bogged down wet. They've seen one of the wettest Aprils on record there, and so they're struggling with the mud and hard to get cattle out, but they had all classes on a very light run, selling $3 to $8 higher pretty much. But you look at how high these markets are going to get this week. This gives you a little idea. At the Bluegrass Stockyards in Stanford, Kentucky. Now, we're not talking about anywhere near the 5-area feeding region or anywhere near a major commercial area of feeding. But Bluegrass Stockyard, Stanford, Kentucky, 116 head of steers weighed 806 at 153.10. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.